this video we're going to talk about beater choice, and there's many different options. You can have a felt beater, you can have wood, you can have plastic. For me, I've only played, and I'm pretty sure this is the same with you too, Jared, I've only played felt beaters. And I think it's what I started with. It seems to feel the best for me when I'm playing. I have tried plastic beaters before, but I find that's a little too abrasive for my playing. But I don't know, is it any different for you there, Jared? Or are you pretty much the same? Or?
I'm the same, like you said. We talked about this before we start the videos, obviously,
yeah.
So we can plan. But basically, I've only ever used felt, and occasionally, back in the day, I would say like 5 to 7 years ago, I was experimenting a little bit with plastic, and you can see here, if I just turn these around, I can use the plastic side. But what I found, I went through bass drum heads faster, didn't really like it, and it's not like I was crazy about the sound. I found that there was a little bit more slap, a little bit more abrasive. But for me, for beaters, I go felt. What about you, Sean?
Yeah, felt's always a safe way to go, but when it comes to something a little bit faster or more aggressive, I'm going to use something harder like plastic, and I have used wood beaters in the past. And the reason for the plastic or the wood beaters is basically it's going to give you more attack or more slap, as Jared said. It's also going to give you a little bit quicker rebound. The bounce is going to be quicker because there's not any absorption of the impact that felt will often do. But it's not going to work for every musical sound or every musical genre. So I wouldn't suggest just going out and buying plastic beaters and using them for everything, because it might stick out like a sore thumb if you're playing with some acoustic singer-songwriter type. You don't want that. You want felt. You want felt or something soft like that. So felt's a really great standby to use for everything if you're not playing fast and aggressive music.
For sure. Now, for all you guys who have electronic drums, a lot of times people will have plastic beaters on that just because of the way that the actual pad is, whether it's one of those fabric pads or whether it's a plastic pad. Each one is different. So, I don't know, you have an electric kit yourself. Do you have any preference on felt, plastic, or wood when it comes to electric drums?
Yeah, Dave. I've got an electric drum set, and I try to use plastic or wood on that, actually based on the recommendation of some product reps. I've heard it from the Yamaha and the Roland product reps that actually the felt eats away at the rubber pads. If you don't have a lot of money, you probably bought one of the lower end electronic kits like I did with a rubber pad rather than a mesh pad. And the felt will actually eat away at it until there's no more rubber left on the pad. And so you want to use a plastic or a wood beater. If you're using a mesh pad, it really doesn't matter because the mesh is going to hold up against either the plastic or the felt. But it's so bouncy that something hard like plastic or wood might not actually feel that great. So I'd still say stick with felt.
Okay, one thing you were talking about earlier is going back to wood beaters. And you were talking a little bit about the tone changes in the wood beater. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, a lot of people will say that different woods will have different tonality, which we obviously hear. A maple kit sounds very different from a birch kit or a babinga, mahogany, etc. Right? So if you're using wooden beaters, even if it's just a small amount, that is going to add to the tone of your bass drum. I'm not really going to notice it, but some engineer might, and so it's always something to keep in mind.
I guess it's similar to like the sticks that you use. If you use maple sticks or hickory sticks, those are going to kind of change the sound of the sound of the drum and maybe the sound of the cymbals. And not everyone's going to hear it, but a lot of people. I mean, there are a lot of picky people, and those people are going to hear it, and you might be one of them. So it's all just about testing. Try out the wood beaters if you need something with a ton of attack and maybe a little bit of a tone change, or if you need something with a little bit more slap, try out a plastic beater. Everything like that.
I have an auxiliary pedal that I sometimes use, and I hook up a cowbell to it. And because I only play felt, I hooked up my felt beater to it, and it didn't really sound that bright because it's a cowbell, and that's obviously the felt isn't as going to have a sharp of a tone to it. So for something like that, you might want to go for plastic.
Yeah, plastic or even wood. That's a great thing for auxiliary pedals and stuff like that.
Cool.
Another thing I want to talk about is beater weight. This is something that I've never ever heard anyone talk about before. But for me, it's been a really, really important thing. I said this in another video, is I once bought a DW pedal and I just hated the weight of the beaters. And then I tried Axis pedals, and with the original beaters that came with it, I forget what they're called, but there was the one, they go up and then they actually come out a little bit.
Yeah.
And those seemed too light. It's like nothing was actually hitting the drum, and so I actually put Iron Cobra beaters on my Axis pedals, and so far the Gibraltar beaters, the weight of them has been all right. And so I like kind of a medium weight, not too light, not like DW, heavy. So what about you guys?
Yeah, on the pedals that I play with primarily, the Axis longboards, I think the weird Axis beaters are called Sonic Hammers.
Yes, Sonic.
Yeah.
And I took them off because they were always moving around on me, and they were also really light and just kind of weird. And I was afraid of impaling the top of my foot on the back because it kind of sticks out. It's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
So I took those out, and I primarily actually use the Pearl Quad beater. So it's got 2 felt surfaces, but just different angles, and 2 plastic surfaces, but different angles. So I can actually use the same beater, switching it around. Comes with a little memory lock that can also just be used as a weight. If the pedal's too light, then you move it up. If the pedal's too heavy, then you slide it down, and you can use it as a way to kind of keep your beaters the same height always, if you're always constantly taking them apart and putting them back together, like I am.
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty much the same with me. I agree with Jared on the fact that I don't like them too heavy, and I don't like them too light. In fact, even the Iron Cobras that you were using before, those ones are a bit light for me. And whenever I play on your Gibraltars, which I do quite regularly, I find that I'm almost off balance, because when I kick, I feel like I'm missing something, and that's just that right weight. And as you play and as you go along, you're going to get really comfortable with the pedals you have. So if you're not sure what it is that you want to try first, or if you're not sure if it's too heavy or too light for you, just give it a try. You know, you're going to grow into the pedal that you use. So yeah, hopefully that helped you out on picking the beater that you want to use. Experiment with them, and I'll see you on the next video.